What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to talk about helium. So guys, helium, I've had several requests about this one. I have heard about it and looked into it just briefly, but now I've started looking into it a little more. Before I really wasn't into mining much, especially because of the energy usage. But this has a little bit different take. The first is it's proof of coverage. So with proof of coverage, it doesn't necessarily provide, I guess you can say, a lot of energy use. So yes, it will need to use a little bit of Wi-Fi that you do have coming from your router. So this wouldn't technically be the full decentralized internet solution, but maybe they can work into something with Akash network. Akash network would be a decentralized internet solution, and maybe they can help with the LongFi, or maybe they'll start launching their own satellites. Who knows? We'll see what happens. But anyways, guys, we're going to explain the Helium network, how it works, a little bit about the ecosystem. Try not to overwhelm you guys. In my opinion, I'm just going to tell you in advance. Me personally, if you are looking to get into this cryptocurrency, I think the best thing to do is just mine it, because why buy what you can earn? So it's one of those things. Right now, the devices are way sold out, so if you guys are trying to buy one, I would wait when there is a bear market. That way you guys can purchase it, and maybe you can even go on eBay. Just make sure that the device hasn't been messed with or anything. And when you buy it on eBay, also make sure it's not something that's just damaged, because typically what happens after the crash is people don't want anything to do with a cryptocurrency or with the miner, etc. But this is a way you can kind of get some passive income. So let's go ahead and talk about it. So Helium, people-powered networks. So this is basically providing a LongFi solution. If you don't know what LongFi is, it's not going to be your lightning fast internet, but it is going to be the internet that is able to extend out. So just like they're working on 5G, but just like you have 5G and 4G, if you don't know the difference between the two is, well, 4G can work with longer distances. You don't have to be as close to the tower, but it's not as quick speeds. However, with 5G, you basically have to be like not right next to the tower, but you have to be close to the tower, and you get lightning fast speeds. So 5G is good for, I guess you can say, inside the cities with tons of cell towers. 4G is more good for rural areas, or kind of just like houses not bunched up next to each other. And we're just going to go ahead and give you guys a quick overview of the Helium network. So what is the Helium network? Like we explained, it's long-range wireless a long-range wireless network that is distributed and global. I'll show you guys a map to see all the different hotspots that are currently running right now. What they use is LoRaWAN. LoRaWAN is I'm probably saying that wrong, but it looks like LoRaWAN is a point-to-point, multi-point networking protocol that uses Symantec's LoRa modulation scheme. Wow, that's a bunch of jumble. But basically all it is just Helium miners connecting with others and basically making a connected internet. And that's what they're trying to do, is have more and more people have these Helium miners, because one miner will connect to another and another and another and so on. It's one of those things like a train track. A train can't drive down on the track. It has to have tracks connecting to each other. So it's kind of reiterating it with that. The Helium blockchain is going to use a consensus algorithm called proof of coverage. So the more space that you cover, the more you're going to be paid for. And no, don't just buy 10 miners and then just put them all into one little location. No, it's proof of coverage. So the more distance you cover, you don't want to put them right next to each other, but you don't want to put them too far. So it's a fine line, and I'll explain that in another video on how to mine the Helium in the best way. But basically, they're looking on proof of coverage with good network speeds. I think they should add that little tidbit to it. And this is kind of a little map of how the proof of coverage would work. But basically, it's an algorithm created for Helium. It verifies that the hotspots in the network are physically located where they claim, and they're honestly representing the wireless coverage. So again, providing good coverage. So I guess they do provide the disclaimer. Why do they use proof of coverage? Well, in my opinion, I really think it's good they use proof of coverage because it's low energy waste. But let me go ahead and read to you the reasons. First is RF has a limited physical propagation and therefore distance. So distance is one of the issues that it's going to have. However, if you have multiple miners, it will compensate for it. The strength of the RF signal is inversely proportional to the square of the distance from the transmitter. So what that means is the closer you are to the signal, the stronger the Wi-Fi is. So RF travels at the speed of light with no latency. Very important because no one likes latency. If you don't know what that is, it's basically the circle of death. Proof of coverage challenges. So here are a couple of the challenges that they will have in it. So these aren't really considered challenges, but here are different compensations that you'll have. In fact, sometimes when you are the challenger and you do win, you'll actually win some bonus HNT tokens, so keep that in mind. So challenger, the hotspot that constructs and issues the proof of coverage. So Hotspot issues challenges approximately once every 240 blocks. Your goal is to win that joker. How do you win it? Well, just make sure your device is running and plugged in and up all the time. So the transmitter, also called the challengee. The hotspot is the target of the proof of coverage challenge and is responsible for transmitting or beaconing challenge packets. So basically what you need to know about the transmitter is someone who is challenging the challenger. And then the witness. So there can also be a hotspot. So two hotspots are both challenging each other. And now the third hotspot would be the witness. They all get paid either way in Helium tokens. So basically it's just proving that your hotspot is running and getting a good signal. If you don't understand this, that's okay. Stay tuned. I'll still explain it some more. And here's the design of the consensus protocol. First is permissionless. It just runs. It goes. Boom, done. It's decentralized by design. I will talk about the tokenomics as well. And it's also Byzantine fault tolerance. If you don't know what Byzantine fault tolerance is, well, listen to a couple of my videos, but basically it's the king problem. Is the messenger corrupted or not? Back then they didn't have cell phones and they had to use messengers for kingdoms to communicate between each other to tell when they're going to attack a city. That would overpower one of the kingdoms unless they grouped together and coordinated and attacked the kingdom together. Then they'd take it down. Also, another thing about Helium is there's a high rate of confirmed transactions. And yes, that is correct. And it's censorship resistance. How do you earn the HNT tokens? Well, you run a Helium miner or you can stake. Staking will be coming soon. I'll explain that as well. But basically, right now is just the Helium miner. And yes, they do have a halving schedule. I'll explain it later in this video as well. But they do have a maximum supply of 223 million, so do keep that in mind. Right now we're at 82 million. And it's same thing, similar to Bitcoin. It has a halving schedule every 2 years. So as of April 2021, 65% of the mining rewards are given to hotspots as incentive. The rest, 35%, will be distributed to Helium, the company, and some other early investors. So again, in my opinion, it's not necessarily decentralized, but it is a good solution to some wireless issues that we're having. So it definitely helps with this. Hotspots can be rewarded for these activities: submitting valid proof of coverage, successful participation in proof of coverage, witnessing proof of coverage, transferring device data over the network, and serving as consensus group as a group member. So here's the percentages. So 0.95% for challengers, 5.31% for proof of coverage, 21% for witnesses, and data transfer for 32.5%. Then the consensus group for 6%. Here are a couple of the different miners. They range from about $400 to $600. You got outdoor miners, indoor miners, you got miners from miners, but they used to allow you to run like a Raspberry Pi and basically just do it yourself, but now they've strictly resorted to 5 different companies. So in my opinion, that's a bit bearish, but hey, it is what it is. It's their own little gig. with the decentralized one, and it's not necessarily decentralized, but they're working on it. We'll see what happens. Basically, you can get any of these miners just visiting their website. And if you go directly on their website, all you got to do is scroll down at the bottom and it'll say buy your hotspot, and it'll take you to this page and you can buy a t-shirt. But anyways, it's pretty easy to set up. You basically just plug it in and try to put it where it is as high as possible and not in a closet, guys. Don't put it in your closet. Make sure you put it in an open space as high up as possible. And if it does come with an antenna, you want to put that as high as possible as well. And the earnings vary depending on the hotspots in the area. I'll do another video to explain how to get the best bang for your buck. But you can range from 0.25 HNT to about 50, depending on how you locate your miners. So keep that in mind. Also, another thing, when you're selecting a certain hotspot, make sure you're buying the correct one, especially if you're doing like a eBay type of purchase. There's a US and a Estados Unidos. No, I'm just kidding. Western Europe. That's what that stands for, United Nations. The US hotspots have a different type of signal that is used compared to Europe. So keep that in mind. Same thing with China and other locations. And when you're on the store, let me go ahead and show you guys how to do that, just so you guys don't mess up. So when you go to the Bobcat miner, so say for example I hit order now. I'm just going to show you guys this now. See, Europe, North America. I'll select North America because I'm in the US. So that's how that will work. And these are the advice that they have: deploying sensors, ensuring you're not the only hotspot, upgrading to a larger antenna, and opening internet network ports. So the antenna is mainly going to be for people who are basically out in the boonies. And then the sensors will help as well. Some of them come with their own antenna, like Bobcat. That'll come with its own antenna. Just make sure you research and see what it comes with. But basically it'll tell you the best it runs. So see, this can cover a range up to 10 plus miles. This is a guy who founded Helium. Basically Amir Helium and Scene Carry. They wanted to build connected devices, an easier way to do it. And this is pretty cool. They got a lot of partnerships. And I know you guys are like, oh, well, why don't I just use Spectrum or Bright House or whatever service you guys are using? Well, this is why. We'll explain it later in this video as well. But it's so much better to be able to, this is a little bit different because instead of like buying a service plan, you can actually pay as you go type of thing. So it's pretty cool how it works. But basically the CTO, Mark Nidijim, I'm probably saying that so bad, but he was a senior engineer at Yahoo. So pretty cool, guys. They got a good team. And here's about the Helium token. It's designed to serve two parties. First is hotspot hosts and network operators, and enterprise and developers using the Helium network. So the guys mining, aka providing internet, and B, the people buying and using the internet, which makes sense. HNT tokenomics. There will only be 223 million ever mined, targeting 5 million HNT per month as a mining target. And they do have a halving ratio starting August 1st, 2021. It'll decrease to 2.5, so basically cut right in half. According to the halving, all of it will be mined within 50 years, so keep that in mind. And here's a little bit about how this will work, because I know you're saying, well, how can it keep running after it's all mined? Well, as people are using the network and paying for it, they're going to be spending the HNT, and that's going to be going to the internet providers. So data credits are a USD pegged utility token used to pay all the transactions on the Helium network. So one feature of the data credit is that it always costs 0.000001, meaning $1 always buys 100,000 data credits. And how does this factor? Well, the HNT price is how it would factor. So if the HNT price is $1, well, you're only getting 100,000 data credits for it. If it's $100, you're getting 100 million data credits for that. So 100x, nice. Here's how the, I guess you can say this is charted out how it would work, but basically data credits demand, the inflation rate goes down, the HNT supply is steadily just going straight across. And you see the inflation rate going down because the HNT supply is going down and the DC demand or data credit is going up. So what happens when people get these data credits? They're basically burning their HNT tokens. Now they do have a feature to keep the tokens basically from going to zero, is they have a net emission. So basically what's going to happen is all the tokens that are burned, the net emissions are going to be given out and rewarded to hotspots and consensus group members forever. So basically, if you're still up and running, that's just an extra incentive. I guess you can consider it just like a transaction fee, etc. And this is how they monitor how much is given. If 10 HNT were burned for data credits in an epoch, the system would then mint 10 more HNT to be given out that epoch. Because HNT produced via net emissions do not add to the total outstanding, because if it's burned, then they create it. It's not just done, created. No, it's only if it burned. So this isn't something that's de-inflationary, so do keep that in mind, guys. So it'll always try to stay at that hard cap of 223 million. And how the token would perform? Well, it does have a limited supply, and as more users will want to use it, they'll be buying it up, and it has a limit. So the more demand, the same supply over time, it should go up in price over time as long as there is more demand and more of a use case and more people wanting it. Not financial advice, guys, but we'll see what happens. They've had some serious growth. In fact, only 7K hotspots in August, and now they're over 25K in 2021. So they're growing crazy. If you guys want to see a little bit about the hotspot locations, here's kind of what it looks like. You got some in China, Europe, United States, and well, China again, because the map keeps going across. And I'm gonna just show you guys a quick feature of this. This is hotspot.rf.com if you guys want to check it out. But basically, how you structure these is, you see how this one's over here. This guy, you can click on any of these dots. It looks like it's miners down, but basically you would get one of the tokens. So the blue is not as good as green. Green is the best you want. So you see how this isn't close enough. So we'll show you this one. So these guys are pretty grouped together, but they might be too close. So this guy is getting 10 per day or per week. This guy is getting 5 per week. He's also getting, or whoever this is getting 11 per week. And this guy is getting 7 per week. This guy is getting 41 per week. Good for him. This guy is getting 14 per week. And this guy is getting 21 per week. So depending on how you set it up, you want to try to set these about 300 meters apart. And what you can do on this website is you can see, okay, I'm going to set my point here. You can double click on it. It'll allow you to select a point. And I'm going to select it here. And now if you click on this, it'll tell you how many meters. So it says 80 meters. So you want to try to spread them about 300 meters apart. That's typically going to be the best, depending on if it has a wireless or not. If it doesn't have a wireless, then it's a little bit different. And you can actually see what their breakdown is. So you can click on their little explorer, and you can see where they earn their rewards. And you can see their nearby hotspots too as well. So this shows the different hotspots that they have as well. You guys can see they're somewhat spread out, but not really good. And you can see their total rewards, and you can see what they earned them from. So if you hit on the activity, this will tell you what it's earned from. So you guys can see the challenger, you got mining reward. So just really depends on when people are using it as well to get more rewards, and you can scroll through it and analyze the data a bit. And I'll also do a video so you guys can get some starter information as well. But back to the Helium miner. Let me go ahead and show you guys their ecosystem. They got a lot of different companies working with them. But again, guys, even if you see it here, it doesn't mean they're technically using it, but hey, we'll see what happens. These are their current users that they have. So they have someone using for asset tracking, agriculture, for air monitoring, staking provider. So Argon is currently using them. So basically, if you're staking, Argon's actually using the wireless service from Helium. So that's pretty interesting. You got digital matter, data cake, Just a bunch of different companies. You guys can take a look into it as well. This isn't your one all be all, but go ahead and take a look into it. Look into their Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Telegram, GitHub, etc. And here's on their GitHub so you guys can see. They're pretty. They aren't. I mean, for the most part, they're pretty active, making updates. I mean, you guys can see they're updating something every hour, every day. Especially right now, it seems like it's getting pretty popular. But back then, it wasn't as popular. They weren't going crazy on it. So you guys can see back in 2019, wasn't crazy updates. But hey, it is what it is. It's a bull market. You got to start working, right? So you guys can see they're trying to roll out a 5G one. So do keep that in mind. That's pretty interesting. They are coming out with different things, and you guys can learn more about this token here as well. And this is the part where they're trying to launch staking. Staking will be coming available. Keep in mind, when staking comes, the Helium miners will not be earning as much. So do keep that in mind, guys. And this kind of gives you the yield estimation. However, another thing you can do is when you mine it, you can automatically stake it. So that might be a bit fun. We'll see what happens. And these are the requirements for a staker. These just tell you the different things that you're going to need as a validator. I'm sorry, not a staker, but someone who is a validator. I'm sure you can delegate your stake to someone. But if not, this is how you're going to do it. You're going to need to have a maximum or at least 10,000 HNT. So you guys can look through all these different things here if you guys want to check it out. So currently they have 37,000 hotspots. You guys can see it is growing exponentially. They're raking these out as quick as they can, the 5 companies that they have. You can see the different countries or cities in the United States that are pretty well populated, and see these cities in other countries as well. Pretty interesting to see. Just so you guys can see the chart, this is the price chart, because I know a lot of people get their panties in a wad if I don't show the price chart. So here's your price chart, guys. Have fun. I'm just kidding. There's the price chart, guys. Price is just a thing people call what the price of something is on a given day, or what they think it's worth. We like to talk more so about the cryptocurrency and what they're doing and how they're changing the game, if they are or if they are not. Another thing I want to show you guys is this. Look at these investors, guys. They got Koshula Ventures, First Mark, GV, Hartford Stream, SV Angel, Mark Bernaroff. Nothing crazy except this, Multicoin Capital. Multicoin Capital is a pretty big investor, so keep that in mind. This is who Helium is used by. It's used by Algus, Salesforce, Lime, Airly, Now so they got a couple companies working with them. Big one is Salesforce, guys. Really big one, actually. So highly recommend you guys take a look at Helium, see what you guys think of it. Me personally, interesting how you can just mine it and low energy. So preferably it would be something that I would get in a bear market, especially being that you're going to have to wait like 8 to 12 weeks or something. No, I'm sorry, 12 to 20 weeks to get one of these jokers. So have fun with that. All right, guys, Proverbs chapter 31 verses 16. She considers a field and buys it. Out of her earnings, she plants a vineyard. I like it. Guys, she earned it. She earned her wages and bought what she wanted. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for watching, guys. If you guys are new to the channel, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button and hit that bell notification. That way you guys can be ahead of the game every time we make a new video.